Going on, everybody, and welcome back to the channel. Now today we've got the man Cricket Raz once again. Now again, original links always in the description. This man has some of the best content on YouTube at the moment, but hey, we've got the man who risked everything to stop him. It's about Muralitharan. I don't know how to say his full first name, so we'll go with Murali. And Ranatunga versus Australia in 98 and 99. Now, everyone knows most of the controversy about that, or if you don't know and you're new, obviously we got Murali banned, I think it was, for a year from cricket because his action, and then everyone said, look, he's throwing the ball, and then he came back and had fixed his action. It was still kind of the same bent elbow, but then it's all a big controversy. Now, obviously, what do I think? He threw the ball. Let's get into it.
So,
no,
what do you do when there is a young human talent who has an unorthodox bowling action, can turn the ball like magic, and can take spin to new heights?
Yeah, he really did. He really did. Now, him and Warney really created, and I guess Kumble as well, really created the new wave for spin. Back then, you know, there wasn't as many spinners going around. Nowadays, you can pick about 10 spinners in a team. Like,
of course, you make
spinners
the
everywhere now.
accuse
What
him
the
of chucking,
fuck? That is a throw.
and then put him on
probation. That was a throw.
So that he can't play anymore. Obvious, isn't it?
Muralitharan seeing his career float right out of the window.
Yeah.
But what if then ICC does a comprehensive investigation into the bowling action and clear him of all wrongdoings?
Yeah, well,
that
would help.
Then you decide to completely ignore that, and you go ahead and hatch a plot involving umpires, media and players to make sure that you destroy this guy's career.
The Australian Cricket Board expected and probably wanted him to be called.
At least that's what the Australian Cricket Board and umpires tried to do.
A player who you believed was not legitimate.
This is the story of the plan to destroy this cricketing legend and the one man who put everything at risk to stop it from happening. The story starts in 1995. Muralitharan was new on the scene and Daryl Hare was the umpire. Now at the time, ICC rules stated,
bro, I was like, look at that. That is a bend.
That you can't straighten your arm after bending it while
That's
bowling.
what I'm saying. And look there, it's not straight either. Now, again, a lot of people are going to be pissed off for me for saying that. But again, it's just my opinion. Everyone's different and has different opinions. But you cannot lie to me and say that his elbow is not bent. Like, look at it. It is bent.
And who is to judge that? Completely up to the umpire's decision.
Yeah.
And so it started. Umpire Daryl Hare quickly started calling no balls on Murali, taking this as an issue.
And because if he bowled too many in and over, then you get sent off for the rest of the day's play, which
all of a sudden,
I think actually happened a few times.
He's now being called for bowling no balls.
Well, I hope he's not calling him for throwing.
See, and again, now this is, you know, from this angle, it looks like a fair delivery, but, you know, who's to judge?
Called him very late, so I'm sure he's calling him for throwing. I hope it's not, but I've got a terrible gut feeling.
This is his livelihood, and all of a sudden, he's being no balled out of the game. Muralitharan is seeing his career float right out of the window.
I was surprised, and I didn't think it will happen ever. He came and said, first ball, no ball. I thought I just overstepped it.
Captain Ranatunga, getting frustrated by this obstruction, decided to start bowling Murali from the other end. To this, umpire Hare boldly declared that he will still call it a no ball, even if he isn't officiating. Something that was completely unheard of till this point.
Umpire Hare is the umpire is doing it. He's decided that his action is not legitimate.
After the match though, the Sri Lankans tried to call for deliberations with umpire Hare to deal with this matter properly. ICC allowed
Didn't he get fired?
Australian Cricket Board though, they stopped it. And the same continued in the second match. This time by another Australian umpire called Emerson, who then...
Okay, now I do want to give, I know most of this video so far, last pause of the video, but most of this video so far, I've been saying how Murali would throw the ball. I just have to clear some things up. I've been, in the last few seconds, I've been thinking, a lot of people are going to be thinking, that I thought Murali was a chucker. And before, at the start of his career, no one can doubt that sometimes he would have a bent elbow. You know, there is no doubting whatsoever that sometimes he would bowl illegal deliveries. If you don't believe that, you're just living in your own world. But after about 2 to 3 years of his career, he fixed up his action and made sure that it wasn't as bent, it was just a little bit more straighter, and it was ruled fair. And I totally agree. And he's one of the greatest spin bowlers. He changed spin bowling. He is a legend of cricket, a legendary figure. You know, he even played Big Bash. He was a great wicket taker. One of the great bowlers. I will never take that away from him. One of my favourite cricketers to watch. You know, he's like in my top 10 cricketers of all time to watch, you know, bowling-wise. So, I'm not having a go at Murali. But at the start of his career, for about the first year or two, there was a bent elbow a lot of the time. So, look, no one get too angry at me.
He decided to take things one step ahead. This bowling issue was mostly related to Murali's off-spin. But Emerson started calling no balls even on his leg breaks.
Now, that was unfair. Because I think that...
It is physically impossible to move an arm like that while bowling a leg break, but that didn't matter.
That's what I'm saying. That's like... That is a fair delivery. When he bowled... Because that's what he did in the end part of his career. He started bowling a lot more leg breaks, leg spin, you know, googlies of some sort, even carom balls and all that, to kind of fix up his action a lot more. So,
if umpire
fair deliveries.
Has called him for throwing.
Unfairly. Really unfairly umpired, for sure.
He's called him for bowling
like, that is good. That is a great action. Nothing you can do about that.
And it's very difficult to throw a leg spinner. Some say impossible.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. You
Murali
can't.
finally had to be taken off from the team.
Ridiculous.
And Sri Lanka
ridiculous.
went on to lose the series 3-0.
Yeah.
Mind you, a few years later, this behavior by these two umpires was labelled as the worst umpiring he has ever seen by Sir Don Bradman, an Australian legend.
Bro, yeah, I mean...
Anyways, fast forward 3 years and Murali had underwent extensive testing at the ICC and was declared to have completely legal action.
Yeah.
The International Cricket Council had absolutely no issues with Murali, but what does the regulating body of cricket know? Australians know better, and they decided to take things in their own hands. The Australian Tri-Nation Series between Australia, England and Sri Lanka was in full swing with the trophy up for grabs. The Australian Cricket Board had continued to malign Murali as a chucker and the captain Ranatunga as a savage. Each day, the media used to be filled with articles about how unethical the duo were, or how the spirit of cricket was at stake. Yeah. And finally, before the 8th match to be played against England and to be officiated by umpire Emerson. Yup, that Emerson. The same Emerson who later went on to say that he thinks Asians have just too much money and power in cricket.
What?
That Emerson was called by the Australian Cricket Board and told explicitly that he should maintain the standards that he had set before.
Oh boy.
In the next match.
Oh boy.
With Merriman telling me, you know, he expected me to do it, encouraging me to do it. He didn't direct me to do it. Encouraged me to do it is how I put it. I had no doubt that the Australian Cricket Board expected and probably wanted him to be called.
In other words, in spite of ICC clearing him of everything, go ahead and destroy him. And so it went. Emerson, emboldened by the ACB's support, stood at the square leg and decided to call a no ball.
No ball called from square leg.
Boy.
For years now, Murali and the Sri Lankan team had suffered at the hand of these accusations. Yeah. And this time, in spite of ICC ruling such arbitrary umpiring, the Sri Lankan captain had had enough.
It's all happened again. He's done it again. Now, what he wants to... I think he might take him off here because I think the law or the playing condition says that if he bowls two, if he calls him twice, he then has to take him out of the attack. So it's happened, and Arjuna is right in there.
he straightaway walked up to the umpires and argued, finger pointing, accusing the umpires of unfair treatment. He kept on citing the ICC's ruling.
Officials who made the decision, all bar two of them are experienced international players, and here we have a man
Not happy.
who is standing there and telling us that the ICC throwing committee don't know what they're talking about, but he does.
But umpire Emerson, backed by the ACB, stood his ground. Captain Ranatunga then looked at the umpires, said goodbye to the English players, and along with his team, walked off the ground. This
Bro, I don't even remember that happening.
had gone completely beyond everybody's expectations.
I
even
respect it.
ACB's.
I respect it so much, Ranatunga, for absolutely doing this. So before anyone thinks that, just because I'm Australian, I take the Australian side, fucking no chance. I am on the side with the Sri Lankans here. The series being in Australia, the umpires being Australia, were judged and were clearly pressured by the Australian Cricket Board to do this, and really just wanted Shane Warne to be the king of spin, not Murali. So, was it a plot against Murali? Probably. I am not doubting that for 1 second. And that's why, in matches now, the umpires are always neutral umpires normally. So, yeah.
Nobody thought that Ranatunga.
But I agree. I love what he did here,
trigger.
Ranatunga.
I'd say this game has been conceded.
I like it. I like what he's done here.
Arjuna Ranatunga is exactly right.
I would have done the same
Umpire
fucking thing.
Emerson is saying that he knows more than everyone else playing the game. Umpires all around the world, they're happy with what that young man has done. This man here doesn't say anything in the first over. I think it's bizarre.
You're exactly right, Beefy.
One man's moment of glory.
The match referee rushed onto the pitch to stop the players, and
too late.
phone calls were made between Sri Lankan board chairman, Australian Cricket Board, and in some fierce diplomacy, an unofficial compromise was reached.
Really?
Murali was to only ball leg breaks, and umpire Emerson was to stand down.
Stand down.
The
Sheesh.
match was to be resumed.
Wow.
But the Sri Lankan captain had had enough. He came and told Murali, ball however you want.
I like that. That's a
Let
good
me see who can
captain.
stop you.
Good captain.
And Murali did, with Emerson having to shut up and watch. After getting called savage and belligerent by the entire Australian media, he decided to show them what true savagery is.
Probably took a sixfer.
In a further move to make the umpire pay, he actually introduced Murali, where Emerson was officiating,
Hey, I like that.
daring him to take action.
I like that.
But knowing he couldn't call a no ball,
What if
he
it was
made an
actually a
issue
no ball?
with Murali's starting mark, saying that it was too close to the wickets.
Oh boy.
To this though, Ranatunga walked up to Emerson and calmly said, "You are in charge of umpiring. I am in charge of captaining.
Hey, that's facts.
My bowler will ball from wherever he wants."
Okay.
And so he bowled. By the time the match ended though, a full-scale war had broken out between the two boards.
Really?
Ranatunga was given a suspended sentence of 6 matches.
What?
Along with 75% of his match fees.
Bro, that is bullshit. That is unfair. Like, bro, if I was Ranatunga, I would be so pissed off. 75% match fee. That's 3/4 of what you were meant to be paid. That is fucked up. Especially
And the
back
Australian
then. Like,
board
money
was
wasn't growing
calling
on
for
trees
Murali's
in
head too.
1990s.
But in spite of all that, when asked, in hindsight, whether he should have rested Murali for
No,
that match,
fuck no.
he simply answered, "He has been cleared by the world. Why should I worry about 1 or 2 umpires?"
No, that's good captaining.
And
Good
so,
leader. And
one
a good
captain
friend.
stood up in the line of fire
Hey, I
to
like it.
protect his youngster.
I like it.
The same youngster who later went on to become the linchpin of the Sri Lankan team. The same youngster who today holds the record for the most wickets in cricket.
Yep.
The same youngster who on that day, after being accused and abused, had went on to score the winning runs
Hey.
of that match.
Inspirational.
With umpire Emerson watching it squarely. This is how Ranatunga saved a young Murali's career.
Wow. Wow. I didn't know it was that deep. Wow, hey, firstly, well done to Cricket Raz for making this video. I read in the comments that this is like a re-upload from about 5 months ago, but he had to edit some stuff out and some stuff in. You guys know how the copyright system works on YouTube. But hey, firstly, classy video, great video. Again, just let me say it again, because before, you go down and you comment saying that I am a biased Australian, that I am talking shit, please watch the entire video if you've just skipped, because throughout the entire video, I am absolutely on the Sri Lankan side, I'm on Murali's side, I'm on Ranatunga's side, and Australia did wrong. That was a bad voice crack, I'll edit that out, but Australia absolutely did wrong. This was pretty poor stuff, from the board, from the umpires, from Australia for trying to ruin someone's career. Obviously, I wasn't alive then, so, I don't know the exact, how it felt living and watching cricket at that time, but, thank goodness that Ranatunga stood up, and now we got to see one of the greatest bowlers in history, and on stats, probably the greatest bowler in history. So, credit to Ranatunga, absolutely. Murali, one of the best bowlers, if not the greatest spin bowler of all time. Now, as an Australian, I am pretty much obliged to say that Warnie is the greatest spinner, but Murali's up there. But hey, that is going to cap it off, guys. Hey, let me know your comments. I'm sure pretty much most people are on the side of the Sri Lankans, like I am, so don't get it twisted, everybody. But hey, that is going to cap it off, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys in the next one.